If you've been seeing people getting this done, raving about how their energies are being balanced and feeling better afterwards, and you want to know why, you've clicked on the right video. Today we're going to be breaking down this 2,000-year-old needle sticking practice and separating myth from reality and talking about what is acupuncture. Hi, I'm Guan, a traditional Chinese medicinal practitioner and acupuncturist, and it's very important you hear my perspective coming from a skeptic that never really believed in this up until my last year of my official training. So I hope this video can give you more perspective and treat it as a new set of knowledge and information for you to utilize later down the road if you feel like a lot of the options you're going through aren't working. Now bear in mind, always consult a doctor first with your main concern, but also understand there may be other options out there that may assist you with what you're going through right now. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Acupuncture is the treatment of inserting fine, sterile, thin, one-time use needles into points of the body. These points are called acupuncture points. Now, a pathway of these are called meridians. They all correspond to different organs of the system, and there's 12 of them in the body. Side note, this is not to be confused with dry needling. We will go into this in a separate video. Now, I'm going to be explaining how acupuncture works from a Western medicinal perspective and an Eastern medicinal perspective. So let's get into it. So I looked up how does acupuncture work through a modern medicinal point of view, and Johns Hopkins Medicine popped up, and I'm gonna just scroll down and show you what I found. It says acupuncture points are believed to stimulate the central nervous system. This releases chemicals into the muscles, spinal cord, and brain. These biochemical changes may stimulate the body's natural healing abilities. They may promote physical and emotional well-being. Acupuncture is known to help with secreting endorphins in the system. This helps with pain relief. Also, it improves blood flow and circulation, especially great for chronic long-term injuries that you haven't really recovered by itself, or even after like a strenuous exercise event to help with recovery. And this is why athletes use acupuncture a lot. Also, it's great to help with neuroplasticity. This can help rewire your brain pathways to allow your body to start learning and be more flexible and help adjust to external stimuli to help with your mental health a bit better. Also, it's great for your gut, which is the mind and body and the gut connection. We believe that in acupuncture, it can help balance the parasympathetic system to the sympathetic system, which is what we call the fight or flight system to the rest and digest system. Also, it's great to work with the endocrine system to help connect that brain and gland to help secrete and balance different hormones to help with especially women's hormonal concerns. How does acupuncture work through a traditional Chinese medicinal point of view? When the needle is inserted into the point, we're basically manipulating the qi and the blood in that area. That's it. Now, that's what acupuncture kind of works in a traditional Chinese medicinal sense, but how does this all fit into the larger and bigger picture here? Well, usually your body, when it feels unwell, there's a few things that may be happening here, but the most important thing to be easy and clear is that it's not balanced, okay? Now, your organs, you have a bunch of them, okay? And some of them are not good. They're blocked up or they're weak. And what happens here is we ask you a series of questions, okay? We find out this thing called pattern, your pattern. This is called pattern diagnosis. Once we find out your pattern, we then pick a series of points, a combination of them that's tailored to your pattern diagnosis. And then we put these needles into your body to help rebalance the organs by manipulating the qi and the blood. That's it. So what is acupuncture good for? So many things. It can assist with so many things, but not everything, okay? The first one I'm going to mention is pain. It's great for pain, and the reason I say it's great for pain is because it's not as complex to treat or work with, because if you find a practitioner, I'd say at least 60-70% of the practitioners can work with pain conditions. It's very, very easy to work with. Obviously, there's complex cases. That's a bit of a, separate topic. But yes, pain is one of the first ones. This is where we get into more of a complex territory with sleep, gut health, hormonal balance, stress. So these four things are something that acupuncture may assist with, but it's a bit more complex because your body usually manifests different patterns. Remember we talked about like the pattern diagnosis? Well, when we talk about those conditions that we just mentioned, it's usually a combination of more than one pattern at hand. And it's kind of like, you think of it as like, multiple knots layering on top of each other. And you got to learn to pick which knot to release first. And so, for example, it's kind of the root and branch approach. So you may be able to release the root cause, but you have to release the branch causes first. Or sometimes you have to go directly to the root. It's getting a bit complex, but understanding multiple patterns and how we approach it. So when we're working with multiple knots and multiple patterns, it requires a great traditional Chinese medicinal practitioner that you're working with to actually assist with these concerns. So sometimes it's easy to work with, sometimes it can be very complex to work with, but at the end of the day, if you're still not seeing any form of relief, I would really consider prioritizing conventional medicine. So that's why when it comes to these different conditions, I don't like to be very confident and say that acupuncture can really assist with it, because the more complex it is and the more medication you are on, it definitely becomes a bit more tricky to work with. But if you really find a great practitioner that can tailor their approach based around the correct pattern diagnosis, well, this is where acupuncture really shines. Does acupuncture hurt? I will tell you this. Does it hurt a lot or not much? Barely. Yeah, really. And it's the insertion of the needle barely feels anything, okay? But I'm not gonna lie to you, like I said, if you do points around different parts of the body, like the hands or the feet or the wrist, there will be a higher sensitivity because there's more nerve endings around there. So yes, there will be some sort of discomfort. It might be a little bit sharp, but guess what? Most points aren't always around there. So when we're talking about acupuncture, does it really hurt? First of all, the insertion does not really hurt, but if it's around certain sensitive areas, yes, it might cause a little bit, because at the end of the day, we're putting a needle into your body, so do expect some sort of stimulation. But most people, when they feel a bit uncomfortable, it's actually the sensation they feel when we're manipulating that needle. Once it's inside, you might feel some heaviness, some dullness. I'll go into a separate video explaining what acupuncture feels like, but this is why most people are not familiar and can be a bit hesitant to try acupuncture, or they feel a bit weirded out after acupuncture. So what is acupuncture? It's the act of inserting fine, sterile, thin needles into tailored acupuncture points by your practitioner. We do this by rebalancing the qi, the blood, and the organs to get you to feeling better. Now, if your body's feeling a sign and symptom, it's because it's telling you something. It's giving you a signal. We're not meant to suppress that. We're meant to understand that. And acupuncture is one of those ways to interpret those signals, to resetting your body and getting it to feel how it should feel. Now, if you feel like you love this type of content, then give it a like and subscribe, and I'll make more TCM content like this. And I thank you for staying to the end of the video, and do take care, and see you later.